listening to the nation's premier source on health, beauty, and wellness. Detroit Nation with Dr. V. Elaine Arterberry. Lifestyle Driven.
Hello, this is Dr. Elaine Arterberry from Detroit Nation, bringing you the latest on beauty, health, and wellness. We are committed to driving the nation to an ultimate lifestyle. We are committed to showcasing Detroit, impacting the entire nation. Put your seatbelt on, because today we have Dr. Joel Kahn, America's holistic cardiologist. Dr. Kahn is a native of Detroit and here today to talk about holistic nutrition. Welcome, Dr. Kahn, for being here today.
Good morning. Thank you. Welcome, and good morning, Detroit.
Oh, thank you. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? I know you're a former Michigan grad, but I want you to give me a little bio. I know it, but I want our listening audience to hear.
Well, you're so sweet. Yeah, I'm born and bred, born in Harper Hospital. Family owns Gardner White Furniture, so 4th Street and Junction in Detroit was my roots. University of Michigan undergrad medical school, graduated number 1 because I didn't go to football games. I studied.
Oh, I believe that, yeah.
Maybe made a mistake, but I think it turned out a good decision in the long run. Ran over to Dallas, Texas for 3 years to practice and study cardiology at the University of Texas. Ran over to Kansas City to study angioplasty with the world's best leader in balloons and fixing hearts. In 1990, I was all done. I said, I got to come back to the great state of Michigan. So a couple of years in Ann Arbor, and I've been in the Detroit area ever since, just past my 25th year of seeing people nearly darn every day of my life. And I say people, patients, wonderful people. And that's what I do. I try and identify, prevent, and reverse heart disease. And the big goal is to stop 1 million heart attacks in the United States over the next 2 years. It's a very doable number if we just wake up and take care of this incredible body we're given.
Exactly. And you've written 2 books. One, The Whole Heart Solution, and the one, my favorite, is Dead Execs Don't Get Bonuses. Both #1 bestsellers in health. That's wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, the title for the other one is The Dead Execs Don't Get Bonuses. Truly, it came out of a sad situation, which was the death of Detroit hero Imre Molnar, who was the provost of the Center of Creative Studies in Detroit.
Right.
Was on a family vacation at age 60, a very healthy, health-oriented person, and sadly dropped dead of a heart attack, proven on autopsy, on a bike ride on vacation, left his wife and children. And out of that came a friendship with his widow and a determination that we just don't need that happening anymore. And we have right now the technology to identify. Anybody listening right now can find out if they have silent heart disease that could put them in that same risk Imre was. And anybody listening can find out how to start to work on preventing it or reversing it if it's already present. So that's my passion, and I've joined up with some other people, including, I hope, the NBA, Danny Gilbert, and Tom Gores, because we just had 3 NBA players in late February and early March. In 3 weeks, 3 former NBA stars died of an acute heart attack at age 48 to 51. I mean, these were professional athletes during their prime, and they dropped dead without warning. And, you see it all the time. Vice President of Morgan Stanley, a guy in New York that I'm sure had some pretty good doctors, just dropped dead at age 62, and it's happening all over the place. And it literally doesn't need to happen 85 to 90% of the time. We take care of ourselves and get a little checkup.
I totally admire your commitment to reducing heart attacks by 1 million people. I think it's absolutely fabulous. You describe yourself as a holistic heart doctor. What does that mean exactly?
Well, I love my cath lab, and I love my emergency room, and I love my pills and statins and aspirin. But, if that's all that people are hearing about, it's accomplishing part of what we need to accomplish. It's not getting to the whole picture. The whole picture is holistic, the whole person. I mean, are they sleeping? Are they involved in a community that supports and loves them, whether that's a church or a family or a workplace or a bowling club? Are they, obviously eating healthy? Are they managing stress in a healthy way that doesn't involve smoking donuts or the 6th or 7th beer? And, holistic looks at the whole picture of a person in their social setting. And then I use more tools than I used to. I don't just use hospital and drugs to treat people. I use a lot of natural approaches, nutrition, stress management, sleep management, And I use a lot of kind of plant-based vitamins that let people hopefully move towards getting off medication or reducing medication. And really, my main thrust has been nutrition. I lead a very large, very proud that in Detroit, we have the largest support group for people trying to eat what's called plant-based, or scientifically the best diet for preventing or reversing heart disease. We have way over 1,000 people that are involved, and many come into meetings every month, and got restaurants. So we're getting talked about all over the country for doing something nobody else is doing, which is helping people down a path of healthy life.
And I want to talk about that, about the plant-based diet a little bit later in the show. But you make a statement that sitting is the new smoking. I mean, people have stopped smoking, at least in restaurants, bars, a lot of places. But why do you say that sitting is the new smoking?
Well, number one, before I even answer, I'm standing as I talk to you at my standing desk in my home, which has two little clips so I can put it down to sit. I can put it up to stand. I don't need to stand 24 hours a day or whatever number of hours a day when I'm working. But so the one is, just to make the point, I'm walking the walk and talking the talk and standing the stand. Number two, smoking remains a horrible health habit. If you want to live a long, healthy life, you can't possibly be smoking. And be sincere, or it's so addictive, so I'm very sympathetic that it's a hard one to break. But nonetheless, smoking rates are going down, thank goodness. And what is going up is that we're a very, very sedentary community of both adults and children. And we're finding, amazingly, nobody taught me in medical school, and that was a few decades ago. Nobody was talking at Beaumont Hospital 10 years ago that there is a relationship between how many hours a day you sit and your weight, your blood sugar, your blood pressure, your blood cholesterol, the degree of blockage you have in your arteries, the way your brain is working towards dementia. We were just starting to get that data out of the Mayo Clinic, and now we have the data, and it's been repeated all over the world. So there isn't a day goes by that there isn't a new study that says something amazing about aging and sitting. If you don't want to age, if you don't want wrinkles, get up right now and stand while you listen to this radio show. It's nutty stuff, and you have to have some balance. There are jobs, if you're a truck driver or a bus driver, and I've written an article on that, Uber drivers that sit all day long. I mean, there is just a downside to that you're not going to be able to circumvent. But even 2 to 5 minutes an hour of getting up and walking beats sitting for the full 60 minutes.
Wow. What do you think people need to do? What things can you tell our listening audience in order to start a new healthy lifestyle? I think for most people, the hardest part is getting going. Like you say, get from sitting to standing is a big thing. But what else can people do to get started?
Well, number one, trying to find a like-minded community is important. And finding one other person who might go to the gym with you, one other person who might share recipes or experiment with some new eating habits. We've, of course, got this large group, so you get more than one other person. You can get 1,000 friends at something called the Plant-Based Nutrition Support Group, or pbnsg.org, that we have a beautiful website online. And we invite anybody. You don't have to have heart disease. In fact, we'd rather you come without it so you don't ever show up in my office. So anyways, finding a friend is really good. And there's an old silly statement, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So right. I like to tell people, try 3 things. This is what I tell my patients. It took me a number of years to be what I am currently completely plant-based. I didn't do it overnight. I didn't have a crisis that forced me to do it overnight. I have patients that do it overnight, and I respect and admire them. But, eat 1 piece of fruit a day, an apple, a red apple, wash it up good and eat it. Can make a tremendous difference. We eat on average less than 1 piece of fruit a day in America. It's insane. When we are drinking 2 to 3 to 4 cans of pop a day on average. Number 2, I really urge people to try and get off of dairy, nearly completely or completely. By far the most addictive food in our refrigerator and pantry, particularly cheese. And the food industry's responded with hemp milk, oat milk, rice milk, soy milk, almond milk, on and on. There's really one of them is going to resonate with you. We were not born to be drinking a large cow's milk geared for its calf. And, there's both an environmental plea, there's a bit of a animal rights plea, but mainly a health plea. The protein in animal milk has been linked to a number of diseases, including diabetes of youth, multiple sclerosis, and others. Casein and lactose. Anybody listening, you're likely unable to make the enzyme to break down milk anymore, and all those things your doctor's treating for stomach upset might just go away if you get off of dairy completely. So that's number 2. And number 3, I ask people to try, Meatless Monday. I'd like you to do meatless Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and on, but Meatless Monday, try a bean burger, try a quinoa burger, try something other than a hamburger, which is likely in our country full of antibiotics, hormones, dead bacteria. That's just scientific data from the Cleveland Clinic.
They have
about
meat.
12% of a standard hamburger is meat. 88% is filler and dead stuff. Anyways, those are the 3 steps, baby steps, and from there you go on and just keep adding in fruits and vegetables. They are nature's best choice at every age.
They have Meatless Mondays at Whole Foods, and we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with Joel Kahn, America's holistic cardiologist.
Great.
Detroit Nation with Dr. V. Elaine Arterberry, driving the nation to health, beauty, and wellness.
Drivers of Change, showcasing to the world the innovators from Detroit, Michigan, and the nation that are shaping the country. Today's driver of change is John Mackey. He's an American businessman. He's the current CEO and co-founder of Whole Foods Market, which he co-founded in 1980. He was named the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year in 2003, and he is a strong supporter of free market economics. He's one of the most influential advocates in the movement for organic food. He started in Austin, Texas, with his girlfriend. They met while living in a vegetarian housing co-op, dropped out of college, borrowed $10,000 and raised $35,000 to start a store called Safer Way. He eventually built Whole Foods into an international organization with outlets in major markets across the country. Along the way, he bought out smaller competitors. Whole Foods has gone into communities where no grocery stores were present and simply revolutionized the way people eat, think, and increase their access to healthy and fresh food. And for that, he is this week's driver of change. We're back with Dr. Joel Kahn, America's holistic cardiologist. And one of the things we're talking about is a plant-based diet, which I think is important. And we've been talking about the importance of plant-based nutrition. Do you think that's the most important change for people to make to get good health? Or is it reducing meat? Is it reducing chicken, eating organic food? What do you think people should do first? Go to plants or stop their meat consumption?
Yeah. So the things you mentioned, I'd put organic as important, but down the list. And there is good data if everybody would start eating more fruits and vegetables of a conventional store-bought or farmer's market-bought nature, health would improve dramatically at a small risk of the pesticides on conventional produce. But don't let it hold you back. Wash it up good. But a conventional apple washed well is a great thing to eat. An organic apple is a little bit better, but for most people right now it's still not, in reach. So don't use it as an excuse. I like to buy organic produce, but I don't let it limit me. If I'm in an airport and there's a donut or a conventional apple, I'll eat the apple.
I think that's wonderful.
So good question. It is, well, if you're eating more fruits and vegetables, you will eat less meat generally. I mean, they are the bulkiest and most water-filled foods we have. And there's this great graph that shows if you're going to eat 400 calories of salad or fried chicken or olive oil, only the salad's going to fill your stomach up and kind of push it out, and that tells your brain to stop eating. So if you will start a meal with a big, bulky, vegetable or fruit-based entree, like a big salad, and you don't eat it in 2 minutes, so you slow down a little bit, don't eat it in the while you're still pulling away from the drive-through window at a fast food place before you even get to the road, you will not want to eat as much. Another trick is having a couple glasses of water before you start a full meal will fill your stomach and give you the same feedback, because we're all eating way too much. This debate, sugar, is it salt, is it fat?
Is it sugar, salt, fat?
We're
Which
eating
one?
600 to 800 calories a day more than we did the average woman nowadays weighs the same as the average man did 40 years ago.
Wow.
And we haven't gotten taller women. We've gotten
No, the
bigger
women haven't gotten
and
taller.
of course, we've gotten
Are you telling me
bigger
the
men
women are
and bigger
getting
children,
wider?
which is very sad.
Are the women getting
So the
wider?
biggest thing you can do from a scientific standpoint, and everybody advises it. Yesterday in England, they came out with a giant nutrition statement to increase fruits and vegetables, whole fruits and vegetables. Don't worry about the sugar in fruit. That's not added sugar. Added sugar is Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Mountain Dew. And cut back on added sugars. And you'll do that. But as I say, simple little steps. Start with one piece of fruit and start with celery and carrot sticks in your lunch every day, and then just don't stop, because very honestly, your blood pressure will come down, your cholesterol will come down, your blood sugar will come down. You're going to be pooping so good, you're going to smile all day long that you didn't sit there and strain. And your health is going to start to improve. But if you want to do more, a complete plant-based diet is completely healthy according to every dietitian and medical society, even babies, even elderly. It helps the environment because it costs a lot less fossil fuel, and we damage the ozone layer, things that will matter a lot to our children and grandchildren. It's kinder to animals. And I can't tell you again through this plant-based group how many people are losing weight, getting closer to their goal that they couldn't do with any other diet. Yesterday, 2 people came up to me and just recently lost between 50 and 60 pounds without a doctor, without surgery, without a pill, because they gave up animal products and shifted completely to casseroles and tacos and chilies and soups and salads that were completely from plant-based. So that's fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, legumes, lentils. But that's no cheese, and that's no milk, and that's no hot dogs. And if you do it all the way, you're going to see all the benefits. You do it part of the way, you're going to get a lot of benefits. So I want everybody to start today.
Dr. Kahn, is it ever too late to start? Some people feel like I'm 60, I've been smoking forever, I've been eating fried chicken forever, my whole life. What difference does it make to change now? Does it make a difference? Because I think some people are intimidated by their age. Like, it doesn't matter, I'm this age, I'm going to look this way. Does it really make a difference? Is it ever too late to start?
No, it really isn't. We have these diseases that in medicine we call chronic diseases. That's the diabetes, the blood pressure, the high cholesterol, the arthritis, psoriasis, Crohn's, irritable bowel, dementia, anxiety. And we're finding that a large majority of all those diseases that do affect us in our 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond are nutrition-based and are reversible to a part or complete extent very quickly. I see people all the time in their 70s having heart difficulties that make the decision to jump on in. They watch a movie called Forks Over Knives. Maybe they read one of my books. Maybe they studied the work of a Dr. Dean Ornish or came to our plant-based group. And and I'm not making this up, within 3 weeks of jumping, and these people usually jump in full bore.
The people in the group jump in
They
full
figure they don't
force,
have
right?
the time left to do play around with this. And they come back to me and they say, I haven't taken one nitro pill in the last 3 weeks. That's the first time in months I haven't needed nitro pills to treat my chest pain, and all I did was eat different. You still got me on all the same stuff. So it's never too late. Even early Alzheimer's is now showing to respond to nutrition and the holistic part, lifestyle. Go out and walk for 30 minutes, get 7 hours sleep at night, learn a little breathing to deal with stress rather than punching the wall. But nutrition is the largest part of all of it.
Why do you think it's so difficult for people to make change? It sounds easy. Just to eat a plant-based diet. And is it all hereditary? Some of these obesity, overweight issues, isn't it part genetics? Or is it all what people are eating and drinking?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and 2 quick answers. It's partly genetic. Some things are purely genetic. The color of your eyes and the color of your hair are genetic. And there are people that have a cholesterol of 700 that I see, and that's genetic. But that seems to account, if you take the cholesterol example, that's 1 person in 500. That's, and that leaves 499 of us that our cholesterol is at least in part our lifestyle and largely our diet. So maybe 80 to 90% of adult diabetes, adult heart disease, adult blood pressure problems are not genetic and are controllable by our lifestyle. And then there's a really cool new field of science. Everybody right now, hopefully you're standing, say epigenetics. Everybody's heard the word genetics.
What's epigenetics?
EPI. Epigenetics is the new science that says, and it's amazing science, that whatever genes your parents gave you, you can turn on good ones and turn off bad ones by your lifestyle. So the best science comes from men with slow-growing prostate cancer. Men with prostate cancer that weren't chosen to go to surgery or radiation. They were allowed to just be watched by the urologist. And 100 of them were studied, and 50 were put on a plant-rich. Every meal was full of rainbow-colored fruits and vegetables. Half were told, do whatever you've been doing with your urologist. But they measured 500 genes that affect prostate cancer. And then with just 90 days, 3 months, I mean, they've been doing whatever they've been doing for 67 years. Within 3 months, cancer-causing genes turned off, cancer-beating genes turned on, cancer-shrinking genes turned on, because, in fact, these men's prostate cancer did shrink. This was done with a Nobel Prize winner in medicine, Elizabeth Blackburn. It's a really good science, and it's just dramatic how every fork feeds our genetic code to say, do good things or bad things. Make bad arteries, make good arteries. Make high blood pressure, make low blood pressure. So it's very hopeful when you learn that science that you are not trapped.
Oh, I believe that. This is the point in our show, what we call our lifestyle-driven moment, where we're going to ask you, what's the one thing that you do every day that you'd like to share with our listening audience to help them live a lifestyle-driven to health, beauty, and wellness? What's the one thing you want to share?
Yeah, well, I choose to eat well every day because I can't get a workout in of my dreams every day. I have a very busy schedule, like many listeners, and I can't always get a perfect 7.5 hours of sleep in every day. I do focus on that, but I can control when I eat, and I actually know that's the most important. So my motto is extreme in diet, moderate in exercise.
Oh, I love that. Is that your quote? Is that your life quote?
And I say that because I think that's really, if people got towards that, because you don't have to be extreme in exercise, and you don't have to run the marathon, because realistically, I'm never going to, and 98% of listeners aren't going to. But we can decide to put berries in every breakfast meal we have, big blackberries, blueberries, and such. We can decide to give up Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Mountain Dew, and Shasta, and start drinking green tea, coffee, and water. We can start today. We can decide to pack our own lunch. We can decide to eat at home more, learn how to cook again. And we're going to save some money doing it, too. If you eat beans and rice the rest of your life with a lot of spices, you'll be healthier, and you will actually save a whole lot of money. And there's a lot of wonderful food. I don't know if you know this, but I'm opening with my family a very large restaurant in Ferndale.
I was getting ready to ask you about this.
Called Green Space Cafe, where if you've never tasted the healthiest food around, many made without oil added in and such, it's going to be there for the public, plus a very nice bar. So we're going to kind of be the demo kitchen. People can come by and say, I don't believe this stuff can taste good, and we're going to prove it to y'all.
I think there is a real need for that in Detroit. There's only a handful of vegan restaurants. Tell me a little bit about how you got that going. I mean, what made you want to... I know you have the plant-based group, but how did that start?
Nobody says that the middle of a project is fun, so I have to be careful right now. I'm really excited about the end game, which is opening up as soon as we can in a quality manner. But, my wife... my children are all passionate about this. My oldest son had an MBA and was working between accounting and restaurants and found the restaurant business just much more pleasing. And we said, we want to do something significant for the community. There's some wonderful places out there, but we had the opportunity in Ferndale to take over some real estate and build out a brand new place. It's never been seen before, Green Space Cafe. It's going to be unlike anything out there, just absolutely beautiful. And the menu's going to kick rear end, as they say. So, I respect anybody in the restaurant business after the last 9 months of moving forward.
Wow, this is new for you, right?
And I hope you all come and enjoy some really great food and see that you can do this at home, too, or just take a whole lot of it home and just let us cook for you for as long as you want, because it's going to be really, really, it's going to support this plant-based support group, because it's be a great place to just come by and know that the foods are the highest quality, most of it organic, because we just believe when available, but almost all of it's sourced locally, so we want to support all the great farmers and producers out there right in southeastern Michigan.
You talk a lot about getting a good night's sleep, and you talk a lot about the connection between eating and good sex. What does eating well have to do with having good sex? Help me with that.
Well, there you go, and thanks for always bringing up the best conversation. So in a couple different ways. One, you need some stamina, you need some fitness.
You need some energy.
And really, the real fun part of sex and all the response you want is largely healthy blood vessels doing what healthy blood vessels should do, which is being relaxed, letting more blood flow. Nothing happens in life without healthy arteries and healthy blood flow. And the same effect that arteries get all clogged up in the heart that I deal with every day happens about 3 feet lower in our groin from the same process: smoking, bad diet, not moving, too much stress, too little sleep, too little love. So by focusing on lifestyle, you can keep those arteries healthy. When I talk to my guy patients, I say, forget about trying to deal with your heart. I'm just trying to keep you in the sack and keep you moving as long as you can, and these are the steps you need to take, because frankly, nobody can see their heart, but they can kind of tell what's going on down there pretty quickly.
Oh, I know.
And it does work. So greens are amazing. Chewing greens of any kind: spinach, broccoli, mustard green, turnip greens, kale, bok choy, green beans, doesn't really matter. There's this amazing system that if you chew green vegetables, it circulates through the body and ends up coming out your saliva glands, back onto your tongue, and makes a chemical that makes your arteries better. And it only happens by eating certain foods. Watermelon is another one. Yellow or red watermelon does the same thing. Some of the red vegetables, tomatoes, add to it. It's mainly greens, though, and no animal product does it. In fact, sadly, our chicken, our fish, our beef, our pork often has estrogen in it from the hormones that they give animals during standard production. So estrogen is not going to help a guy's performance in the sack by eating animal-based products that we're standardly buying 95% that's out there. So yeah, you want to keep your arteries clean. It's a wonderful thing, and you'll have many joy points from it, but improved sexual function is one of them, and there's some science to that. Now, let me just make a public service announcement. If there's a woman or a guy listening and they know of a guy having sexual problems or erectile dysfunction, that can be a clue 3 to 4 years before a heart attack, because that artery got clogged up and is causing problems before it's obvious that the heart artery is clogged up and causing problems. So get a guy in to see a doctor if they're having bedroom issues, and make sure that that's not the warning that I teach my patients about to get fully checked.
Dr. Kahn, I just have one quick question. We have about another half a minute. Some people say everything starts with the heart. How is the heart important to your overall wellness and fitness? What is the heart about?
Well, the heart is just this fascinating organ. I mean, 100,000 times a day. We never need to think about it. It's pumping blood and providing nutrition and taking away the trash. It'd be like the best personal assistant you'd have in your house. You'd never need to do anything. But we don't think about it, and we don't really celebrate it. So, I mean, a man is as old as his arteries. That's a 500-year-old statement. A man is as old as his arteries. It works for women, too. So think about what you're doing today to celebrate and treat your arteries right. And if you eat well, sleep well, move well, and love well, you will enjoy that and enjoy life without being in a hospital, without needing to see me in my clinic.
Oh, Dr. Kahn, thank you for a fabulous interview today. I appreciate you being here.
I so appreciate the opportunity to talk on my passion, which is good health for the city of Detroit.
Oh, thank you. This is Detroit Nation. We are lifestyle driven, committed to driving you to the best in health, beauty, and wellness. Please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 313 Nation Radio. We will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, achieve your personal best, then beat it. Tune in next week, same time.
Detroit Nation with Dr. V. Elaine Arterberry, driving the nation to health, beauty, and wellness. Lifestyle driven.